It's DSP's top 8 worst games of the year. Number 3, Defiance. Alright, well, in defense of this one, at least this is a game that didn't try paint by numbers to copy something else. Defiance was a unique opportunity to have a tie-in with a television sci-fi show that was debuting around the same exact time as the game. Now, this was supposed to be an MMO third-person shooter, meaning you can go throughout an open world, do all kinds of different content in different order. Although it does have a story to follow along, you can team up with tons of other players in this online environment to do big, huge cooperative battles and events. And so, at its premise, Defiance seems like it could have been an interesting game, and actually I was looking forward to it. One problem here. Number 1, the game was released over 2 weeks before the show was to premiere on TV. So since the show wasn't out, when you at first played the game, you didn't have a freaking clue what it was about. The premise of the game was only explained in a quick text screen that really didn't give you enough backstory about anything going on, including the characters, to give a damn. And number 2, Defiance had one of the worst launches of any multiplayer game ever. When people all tried to log on in the same areas, the frame rate dropped to a crawl. That's right, it was funny because this year I adopted direct capture and live streaming. People who were watching me on the stream were asking me, Phil, is your stream lagging? And I was like, no, that's the game. The game actually runs at that low of a frame rate. And it's not only in the initial spawn area that this happens, but at any time when you actually try to do some of these large-scale cooperative battles that are supposed to be the selling point of the game, the frame rate drops completely into the toilet. You can't tell where to shoot or what to shoot at. Things teleport all around the screen at low FPS rate. It's a horrid mess. It's basically a game that if a console could run at a high enough rate to handle it would have been great, but they can't. They couldn't handle the amount of gameplay, the amount of players in one area at one time, and it just became garbage. So a game that has an innovative premise, be able to jump in between consoles and play with people across consoles and play, with hundreds and hundreds of players in these huge cooperative firefights, and then you actually go to do it and you're like, this sucks. You can't tell what you're doing, you can't control what you're doing. And it's pretty boring as well. It's pretty much a generic third-person shooter where you have a vehicle to drive you around. You got your projectiles, you got your grenades, and that's about it. There's nothing really unique about the game. And then to boot, 2 weeks later when the TV show was released, it got basically critically panned, and everyone was like, the show's okay. So what a double fail. First of all, you release the game early, the game's not so good, so the game gets panned. Then your TV show comes out, and your TV show gets panned too. It was like a double whammy. So Defiance was an interesting experiment. If it were in the hands of a better game developer, it might have done a lot better. If it had a better frame rate, people might have actually given it the light of day. But because it was just so bad at launch, people immediately got turned off, panned the game, and no one plays it anymore. Defiance is dead on arrival. What an epic fail, and one of the worst games of the year. Coming up next, what do you do when the next gen is on the way and you've got a popular franchise that doesn't have a game ready for it? You shovel out a quick piece of crap and say that it's a new installment of your famous franchise. Check it out.